Hello everyone, welcome back on my channel. Guys, I'm Ramkesh Singh, Unity game developer, YouTuber and blogger. Nowadays I'm doing tutorials on URP, Universal Render Pipeline. So I have done total 3 to 4 Unity URP tutorials. So in this tutorial what we are going to learn that how we can create a material and which kind of material we have in URP. Universal Render Pipeline. So let's start the today video. If you're new on the channel, make sure to subscribe the channel. Have not subscribed my blogging channel, so just please check it out. So let's start the today video. Okay, so friend, you can see that I have taken my one project, that is the URP, and it is based on the Universal Render Pipeline. So basically we are in the PC, Mac, Linux standalone. So I will explain that how many materials we have and which kind of material when we can use. So here you can see I have a textures and I have just downloaded from the Breaky website. He is my favorite YouTuber in game development. So you can download from his website, game asset 3D dev asset I think. So just extract this material and here you can see there are so many textures: asphalt, brick wall, cement, brick wall, cliff face, mossy, concrete wall. So there are so many textures here. Okay, so let's suppose we want to check out for asphalt. So this is the base, metallic, normal. So what we have to do is just go and create. So basically here you can see material. So just click on here and you can say asphalt. So this is your material. Okay, and when you will click on this material, so here you can see asphalt material shader, and which shader we are using, Universal Render Pipeline lit. So by default when you will create any material, so that will be a lit, and when you will click here or you can search here what you want to perform for your material, or you can just go here and here you can see mobile, nature, UI, VR, VFX, particles, shader, skybox, unlit. So there are so many. Even here is standard, but we want to perform Universal Render Pipeline. When you will click here, so you can see there are so many materials: 2T, Autodesk Interactive, nature, particles, Terrion, baked, complex lit, simple lit, unlit. So I will explain everything. First let me explain that what is the by default. So that is the lit, and here you can see surface option. So on surface option you can see there is a metallic. So workflow mode is metallic. When you will click here, so you can get specular or metallic. So it's basis on your demand that which one you want to use. There is a metallic and there is a specular. So there is a little difference when you choose the specular. So here you have to pass specular map, and when you will choose the metallic, so here you will pass metallic. If there is anything that is the metallic, so you have to use metallic, but if you are not sure about that is the metallic, so at that time you can use specular. Okay, hope you get the idea. And here is the surface type. So basically it is the opaque and transparent. Opaque means with the density, and transparent means you will be able to see through your material. So we want to use opaque. Or here is the render face. So mostly we use the front, and there is a back also. So if you want to see the back parts, you can use the back. You can use also both, but it depends on your requirement. But you should use only front or back, because when you choose the both, so rendering computational is increased, so it can be effect on your performance. So here is alpha clicking, so you can on or off, this depend on your requirement. And here you can see the important thing is surface inputs. In surface input, whenever you get any textures, so what you get: base map, metallic map, smoothness, and here is the normal map. So firstly let's suppose we have base map. So here you can see this is the albedo is your base map. So just drop is here, and here is asphalt metallic. So just choose and drop here. So it will just set your metallic value. Okay, and here is your smoothness. So you can also just manage your smoothness on the basis of your requirement. And here is your normal map. So you can choose your normal map here, and if you have any height map here, so you can perform your height map. Basically normal map and high map use to just show a direction in textures. Let's suppose we are making a texture of normal map and high map. Basically they use to just show the clarity of for textures, means they just show the more accurately your texture. I'm not able to explain in my simple words, but when you perform the normal map, so basically it's give you that more realistic environment. And here is emission. So whenever you want to perform the emission textures, so you have to just on, and from here if you have any map, if you have any emission map, so you have to just put here. And here is the tiling. So it is a very rare case when you will be use tiling. So let me show you that how we are going to perform. So here we can take one plane. On that plane, if you want to, when you will create any 3D object, so there will be by default material, that is the lid. So just take this material and just go on the add map and drop. So here you can see we have applied one material on the plane. Okay, so basically you can see this thing you are able to see due to the normal map. Let's suppose we have the normal map, and let's remove the normal map and you will see the difference. So you can see that these things you are not able to get clearly, but when you use the normal map, so you will be able to see these things clearly. And if you want to see much more clarity, so at that time you have to use height map. So currently we have to use the normal map. So here you can choose, and here is your normal map. So now you can see the difference when you apply a normal map. So there is a lot difference. Okay, so basically this is the way you create your material. And if you don't know anything about other universal render pipeline, you are not aware about those things, so by default created material you can use on your 3D object, that will be a lid. Okay, but as an experienced developer, if you know this thing, what are these things, so you will be aware. If you are aware, so that will help you to improve your game performance. Okay, why I am saying so, just I am going to explain you one by one, so that you can get a better idea that when we are going to use the complex lid, when we are going to use the simple lid, when we are going to unlit. So just let me show you that what is the differences. So first let me explain that what are the differences in this. So here you can see these are the materials we are using the URP. First one is 2D. So this material we use for developing the 2D project. So at that time we use 2D. And this is the auto interactive, means Autodesk is a software. So shaders optimized to provide live updates to your shaders when you make an adjustment in a Autodesk application, vice versa. Means if you have created anything in the Autodesk and you want to perform things, so at that time you have to use this material. And basically that is not a nature. So you can see there is a nature. So basically this kind of things we perform with the Terrions. So like if you want to create a say speed trees, so there are the speed trees, you can search on the Unity website, you can just create many trees, many kind of trees. And this is the particles, so contain the same 4 lightweight shaders for your particles. Okay, it is the optimize, so you can use these particles. And basically there is Terrion. So basically when you create a Terrion, long Terrion in the Unity, you can also create the Terrion. So at that time you use, but these are the important, but not that much. But last these three are very important, means you can say very important. Let me show you what is the backlighting. What is the backlighting? So basically backlighting is a very important thing when you bake your light. If you don't know what is the bake your light, so let me explain a little bit thing. Let's suppose you are doing a lighting and you are taking the area lighting. So these are the lightings, and in these lightings few are perform many kind of mode, like when you have directional mode, like here you can see, and here you can see there is a mode real time, mixed and baked. Okay, and this is the directional. Let me take more lights. This is the point light, and point light is also perform real time, mixed light and baked light. And let me take another light. Here is spotlight. So here spotlight also perform this three light, mixed and baked light. And here you have area light. So area light have only what? Bake. Area light have no any mode, it is only baked light. Okay, and when you create reflection probe, so in reflection probe you can also use baked, custom and real time. And after the reflection you have also one thing, there is a light probe group. So in light probe group you don't get anything, so in every scenario you can use light probe groups. So what you are getting understand, that you have these many lights. So for the direction light you can use the mixed light. When you are using any when you are not sure about that, when you are using the directional light, it is mixed or baked, so at that time you can use mixed light. But for other lighting like point lighting, if you are using the baked lighting, if you in the spot lighting you are using a baked lighting, in the area light this is already baked lighting, in the reflection probe we are already using the baked lighting, so by default it is the baked. So what is the baked lighting? Baked lighting is, let's suppose you create these lightings. I will explain reflection pro, light pros in a very detail. You can just drop me a message. But if this lighting you are using in the baked lighting means all the shadows, all the lighting will be baked, and that will be not calculated at the runtime. So basically all the data related to baked lighting means there is a lighting and where it's getting reflection, where it's getting the shadow, all the things is baked. And how you bake? So for this you have to go in the window and rendering, lighting, and here is the scene, and here you can see generate lighting, and you have to just create the new lighting, and here will be new lighting, and here is the backed global illumination, and after that you can generate lighting. So let me do, it takes a little time. You bake, so you get baked light map. Okay, but there is one problem. Whenever you want to use the baked light on the plane, you have to choose static. When you will click here, you can see when you choose the static, so there are so many things like everything, like contribute GI, occlude static, occluder static, batching static, navigate static, of mesh leak generation, reflection probe static. So there are so many things that apply. So on the baked lighting, what you have to choose is, you have to choose static, and then after that you can bake from here. So you can just drag and drop in the side, and then you can bake. So whenever you bake a light, you get a bake light map. So here you can see there is a light map, and there is not that much light because we are using the directional light, so it's already cover the whole lighting. So that's why we are not able to see the any much more effect. But if you are making it indoor and you are using the backlight, so at that time what you have to do is that in that case you can also use the lit shader. But if you are using all your light is a baked light, so at that time you have to use your baked lit. Okay, what you have to do is that every time you have to change, and then you have to, in the lighting, you have to generate your light. So whenever you are using all your light is a baked, so at that time you have to use the baked lighting. So in one scene it not really necessary that you have to always use only baked light or lit light. But if you are saying, I will explain in others, I have explained that when you have to use the baked light, but when you have to use the backlit, so when you are using all your light is a baked mode, so at that time you can use the backlight. But it is not necessary that you always use the backlight. Backlight, you always use backlit. Backlit you have to use when you think that this material need to be baked. But if you want to see a proper, like this floor is stonish, means it's a stone, so at that time you have to use the lid because you want to see the details, because this is the natural things, so it is necessary. So at that time you have to use the lid. So you have understand what is the backlight when you have to use. It's depends on your requirement, that if a model is not that much contributing in the light, so at that time you can use the backlit and lit. So let me read. Use this shader for stylish games or apps that only require backlighting by light maps, light probes. And here you can see lit. So lit is a very important, but it's a computational. So lit shader lets you render real world surface like stone. So this surface is a stone, so at this point we have to use lit. So if we are working with any real world entity, so at that time we have to use lit. And here is the reflection probe. So when you use the lit, so at that time it get the reflected. So now I have to use the intensity 1 of reflection probe. Okay, so here you can see that lit shader lets you render real world surface like stones, wood, glass, plastic, metals in photorealistic quality. So your light levels and reflection look lifelike and react properly across the various lighting conditions. So on the lighting condition, if you want to see your surface in a very proper way, so at that time you have to use lit. Okay, and if you are making your application that is not very good in hardware, so at that time you have to use what you have to use you have to use simple lit. So here you can see it is a simple lit, but here you can see this is not that much good as a lit. Okay, so it's perform the lighting effect on the surface, but not as much good as lit. But if your application is on the Oculus Quest 1, Quest 2, so at that time not all the materials, but in few cases you can use the simple lit to just increase the performance of your device. Okay, great. Here you can see simple lit. Use the shader when performance is more important than photorealism. Means if you are not much more concerned about your just graphics, so at that time you can use if you are just worried about the performance, so at that time you should use the simple lid, and this lid uses the simple approximation of lighting. Okay, and here is few more, like complex lit. So complex lit we perform that when you want to perform much more light on, or much more light effect on the surface, so at that time you can use, but that is a very expensive, so you should avoid the complex lit. And after that, here is unlit. So here you can see this is the unlit. Unlit means there will be no any effect of light on the surface. Okay, and if you are bringing any textures, so these textures are not baked, but these textures you can get from your artist, that might be your baked in a various software. So at that time you can also use the unlit, but currently there will be no any effect of lighting on these surfaces. Okay, so this is the unlit. So hope you have a basic idea of these materials of URP. Okay, and this is the very simple way. So let me explain that how you can create one material, because people really ask me that how we can create. So let's suppose give you another example, that is the brick. Okay, and in brick you can see there are so many maps. Okay, so let me delete these things, really not necessary for now. And here I am taking one 3D. Let's take one cube. Okay, so this is the cube. Cool. Okay, so this is the cube, and we want to make a material of these textures. So simply you have to create material and give the name brick. Click on this material. Here you can see base map. So albedo is your base map. Okay, and if you want to see the changes, so I think this will be better for you. So just go here, and this material you have to drop here, or if you want to drop, so you can drop here directly, or you can just drop here. Okay, so I think that will be, let's drop here also, so that you can see the changes. And here is also okay. Okay, fine. Okay, so here we have created material. So what we have to do is that here is metallic map. So here is your metallic, so just drop here. Now you can see the changes here. Okay, and let's, here is light height map and normal map. I have already told you that when you apply the normal and height map, it's really changed drastically. So let me apply normal map. Cool. Okay, you can see the differences, and it's fixed. So now we have fixed, and here is also height map. So let's apply the height map, and you will see the difference. Boom. Okay, you can perform this value, you can perform this value, how it's looking, you can see the changes. Okay, okay, and here is occlusion. So just perform the value, and you can see the changes. Okay, so there is no any emission because that is not reflective, but you can also manage these values. And here is metallic, so we are using the metallic. And if you want to specular, so this is the specular, means more reflection will be there, but currently we are using the metallic. So in the metallic you get a less reflection. Okay, so hope you get the idea that how you can create a material. Let me change another material how we can get. So this is the cement brick. Okay, so first let's drop our material here, and as well as on cube. So this is your material, and here you can see by default it is a lit. And you can ask me that why I'm taking the lit, because I'm not sure that which light I'm going to use. I'm not sure that I'm going to use the backlight, but I am sure that this is the real world entity. So in the real world entity, you have to use lit. And if you want to performance, so you have to use simple lit. Albedo, and let's drop the metallic, and let's drop the normal map. Wow, you can see the changes. Okay, and here is the height. So just you can see the height, and you can play with these values, that how it's getting changed. Okay, so you can use, it's looking much more realistic. Okay, so it's depend on your requirement. And here is the occlusion, so let's use the occlusion. Now you can see there is much more realistic. Okay, so this is the way you can create a material. I have explained that how many materials we have and what are the use cases of them. So be aware of it and use your brain. In a one scene, it is possible to take a many kind of your materials. So it's depend on your requirement and your places. So for the lit, you have to decide that when you use the real world entity like stone, plastic, so at that time you have to use lit. But in these cases, if you want performance on the basis of graphics, so you have to use simple lit. And if you don't care about any performance, so you can also use the complex lit. But if you are using this scene in a baked, so you can use lit as well as backlight as well as simple light. You can use these three too. But in the backlight, if that is not real world entity, but you are using the big lighting, and if you are using the real world entity, try to use the lit. But if it is performance related, so you have to use simple lit. So hope you get the idea that which kind of material you have to make, and how you have to utilize your texture to create the material. So thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy the tutorial. Hope you learn something. This is a very big tutorial, but very important and very basic, that will help you to understand. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. That will really help me to reach you. That will really help me to reach more people who want to learn the game development like you. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. See you in next video.